Hey, Inspired Tribe, my fellow freedom lovers, John Nolan here. Thank you so much for tuning in to another Inspired live stream. And before we go into anything else, I want to apologize for the technical difficulties. This has been the most rescheduled live stream ever. We didn't really do this a lot in the past, but this time around, we had to reschedule this. Technical difficulties all around. It was very interesting how equipment, internet, everything can malfunction. And now it's not even at the exact scheduled time, but we just felt, okay, it's working. We're going to go online, and people are going to watch this later if necessary. But let me first say we're healthy. We're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. That is the mantra of the Inspired live streams. It has been for a very long time. It's wonderful to see you all and be with you. This is a triggering subject that we're going to talk about today. And from time to time, every few months, we bring this up and we talk about this because not just more information comes through, but some things are becoming clearer and clearer by the moment for people. So what we're talking about here is NPCs. And today, I want to paint the big picture, so bear with me here. First off, the abbreviation NPC stands for non-player character. This is something that comes from the gaming world. I'm not a gamer, but I have, on occasion, in the past, played a video game. And I know that there are characters in a video game that I can control. And then there are characters in a video game that are inserted into the game, but they're not controllable by the players. These are what is called non-player characters, NPC. A lot of the concepts that we talk about here are becoming more accessible for people because of technology all around us. But before we go into how you can spot NPCs in our reality, because I believe they do exist, non-player characters or backdrop people, before we do that, I have to explain something on a little bit of a bigger level. I do believe that there is a prime reality, a original reality, and that original reality includes the Earth and includes other planets and includes a whole spectrum of spheres that was created by the prime creator, by God the creator. The real, all that is creator, creative energy. I also, and this is all my observation, my conclusion, my analysis. It doesn't mean that I can claim this is a fact 100%. I can't. I believe and have believed for a very long time that there is a grid, an electromagnetic grid, if you will, superimposed on the prime reality. What I mean by that is that a very advanced technology that we probably cannot fathom its strength and power is superimposed on the actual Earth. And what it does is control our perceptions. It might even put us in avatars that are not our real bodies, if you will. Movies have shown this, and documentaries have shown this, and people have talked about this for quite a while. Some people call this a simulation. This is a triggering subject for a lot of people. I want to say especially deeply religious people. What is so triggering about a simulation? It includes the thought that this is not real. Well, let's quickly go into simulations at large. We simulate pretty much everything in our reality. We humans, as soon as we have the ability, we simulate it. It doesn't matter if we do it in education. Education is all about simulating real life problems, learning how to solve them in a simulation where you simulate them. And then later you say, oh, now I have the skills to go into a real life problem. Pilots are trained in simulators. Race car drivers spend a lot of time in simulators, but it's not just that. As a matter of fact, people simulate life experience by spending years of their lives in front of a TV watching other people simulate a reality. It's a double simulation. while they pretend, because they're so deeply in it, it's real what they're watching, and they have the emotions of the experience while they're watching it. When people watch a movie and they're fully invested and they turn off that logic part of their brain, they believe they're in it. They feel all the emotions of the characters. They cry, they laugh, all of that. It's a simulation because it's not really happening. They're not having these experiences. They're not having these conversations. And on and on and on the examples go of how we simulate reality. Everything that we do online, that we do in this field here, is kind of like a simulation, if you will, because we're simulating a reality that is happening in a digital space, which is inherently not real. So this is just to show that we simulate way more than we think we do. We simulate a lot of our experiences. So the idea is that there is a superimposed reality that is keeping us from seeing the original or prime reality, which I believe is a much more ethereal space. It is much lighter. It doesn't include certain things, and it is much more high vibrational. So this is what I have to first say. Now, if you consider that human beings inherently have or spirits can have a human experience, let me put it this way, but while you're in the human experience, people feel a spiritual connection, a real spirit, something that guides them, that is beyond their senses, something that gives them information that is beyond their sensual perception. You receive intuition, you receive certain things, and these are of spiritual nature. Some people do not differentiate between soul and spirit, but that's a whole different discussion. If we believe that this is indeed a matrix, a superimposed electromagnetic reality that is keeping us from seeing the real reality, then why would it be so difficult to also assume that there are people in this reality that would look like you and me, and that would have the biochemical composition like you and me, that would have the same body as you and me, that would still have muscles and blood and organs and all that stuff, and a brain. But what they wouldn't have is a spirit, because they were inserted into this reality, because they come with a different intention, because the programmers of this reality insert these people with a specific intention. And this is what I call NPCs, non-player characters. They live a life, they drive cars, they function at a very high level, but they do not have the ability to have a real spiritual connection, because they're not inherently real. Their real highest I is not there. It doesn't exist. It was never there. And so they are, in fact, biorobots, if you will. Even if they function at a high level, even if they can have conversations that are intelligent and very smart, but they don't have a spiritual self, the real I. Those would be non-player characters. Now, what would be a reason to insert them into this matrix reality? Well, if your intention is to manipulate real spirit, which I believe this whole battle is about. This whole battle is a spiritual battle to manipulate real spirit. And ultimately, it is about blackmailing the prime creator into doing something the prime creator would never do. Now, that's how high this game goes, I believe. But it is to manipulate real human spirit, because we give off a tremendous amount of energy. Our real spiritual self, if it expresses itself, is extremely energetic and gives off a lot of energy. And for this to be controlled, you have to have certain circumstances. Now, the idea is to never let us get this far, because when we break through a glass ceiling that we cannot see, but it's a vibrational ceiling. If we break through it on a bigger level and together, I believe we break up this electromagnetic projection and we actually return to prime reality. Or prime reality becomes visible, feelable, tasteable, touchable to us again, whichever way you want to see this. The NPCs, the non-player characters, in my view, are there to manipulate our perception and to peer pressure us into decisions that go against the human spirit, following authority, following orders, obeying. This regarding our divine intuition and going with the masses. This is what they are there for, because they are a huge body of people that moves according to their program. They can't any other way because that's what they're programmed to do. And so when we get frustrated with NPCs, because some are in our families, because they're all around us, they're in leadership positions, we actually follow that program. And this is why I said before, you have to be fully connected spiritually and maintain and intensify and develop and focus on that relationship. Focus on really connecting with your highest self. Now, what people have commented on previous videos is that this is dangerous talk, that this dehumanizes others, but I don't dehumanize them. I have no ill will. I would never suggest that anything should be done against them, or that, to a different scope than I would suggest anyways. If you are attacked, if your family's attacked, physically attacked, well, defend yourself, do what you need to do. But I would never say, hey, let's dehumanize a certain part of the population, lower them on a lower level, and let's do something against them. That's ludicrous. I have never said that. I would never say that. First off, it might not be as easy to really realize who's an NPC, right? They're highly functioning. But second of all, there's no value, would be never any value in that. It would actually dehumanize us in our actions. So I've never advocated for that. And I'm not saying go out and classify people, but you have already experienced this in your life, whether you want to admit it or not. You have talked to people who did not have a spirit, and you felt it. Now, how can we differentiate? I want to give a few parameters that I have found and I have seen. I'm not saying they're absolute. I'm not saying this is the truth. This is my experience, because there are nuances. Let's talk first about people that have a spirit and how I have noticed their reactions to certain conversations and topics. Now, there are people who have a awake spirit. That's the best kind of way to start. When you have a conversation that comes from your spirit, you speak from spirit. It's very different. You know this. When you speak from program, when you speak from your education, from your educated mind, your brain, then you have a different conversation. When you speak from spirit, it's a different conversation. When you speak from spirit and you talk to these people, no matter what level of awakening they're on, you feel a resonance. You feel a resonance. You feel it, and they feel it too. They might not fully understand what you're talking about. They might not grasp all the concepts, but you feel a resonance, and they feel something in themselves that resonates. It's clear. You don't have to spell it out. Everybody can feel that. Now, then there is the asleep spirit. The asleep spirit might be someone who will argue with you, but there's something in their eyes and in their spirit that they feel it. Their programming might kick in, all that, but you feel it. You feel the spirit. You feel that resonating thing inside of them. It's like when you have you ever seen a crystal bowl, a singing bowl, and you hit it gently and it just resonates? Well, that's the same kind of principle. You can tell. Then we go to the completely mind-controlled people with a spirit. Those exist too. That's far more nuanced. It's where you really have to go deep within to feel their spirit, because it's buried, but it's there. It's buried under programming that is very, very heavy. If it's really specific mind-controlled programming, like certain entities have used on people. Okay, so this is entities, people with a spirit. Now, if you move over to people without a spirit, you can have an intelligent conversation, but there is no when you speak from spirit, there is no resonance whatsoever. It's like bouncing off a wall. It goes over their heads, it bounces off of them. There's nothing that goes within, and you can see a blank stare. A blank stare. There's nothing that can resonate with what you're giving, even if you're not speaking. If you just sent out beautiful, loving vibration from your spirit, not from your mind, not from your thoughts, from your spirit, there's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing there. It's a blank stare. Those are NPCs. And I do not believe that they can develop above a certain level vibrationally. They have a scope within that frequency range. They have been created for a certain purpose, but they don't have that spirit. And there's nothing you can do about that. You can spend a lifetime investing your time, energy, your thoughts, your creativity into trying to show them something, and it will never, ever resonate. At the most, and some of these NPCs have very narcissistic traits, at the most they will fake something, but you will never feel a real resonance. They will fake understanding. They will fake this to manipulate you into certain behavior. Why is this an important discussion? Why are we even talking about NPCs? And others have talked about this too. There are levels of NPCs. There are highly functioning ones, and then there are they're just fillers in a room. I'm sorry to say that, but they are fillers in a room. There's nothing there. There's almost nothing there. And that sounds harsh, but if you think about a matrix, if you think about an electromagnetic grid that's being superimposed on a reality, why is that harsh? They're just part of the program. They just appear there. They're holographic, if you will. Sometimes they're even just holographic in their nature. And it's like saying you went to an Elvis concert that was fully holographic, and then saying, well, it's dehumanizing to call what you saw on stage a hologram or a program, but that's all it was. Elvis wasn't there. It was just a hologram. Tupac wasn't there. It was just a hologram. Or whoever. Gandhi wasn't there. It was just a hologram. This is not for the purpose of dehumanizing anyone. It's for the purpose of bringing back your power and not wasting it where it doesn't fall on fruitful ground. That's really what this is mainly about. If you can come to the understanding that you are talking to a human being, has the same appearance but does not have a human spirit, how much time are you going to invest in trying to convince them of anything, or show them anything, or share your spiritual practices with them? It's impossible. And I've dealt with a number of these people, and it has become quite clear. Now, am I certain about the proportions of, are there more real humans and more NPCs? I have an assumption that I shared, but I'm not going to do that any longer. It either scares people or it triggers them very strongly. What we want to focus on is developing ourselves spiritually, become the best possible version, which will help us discern truth, which will also help us to elevate this whole space and elevate our field. And this is what this whole thing is about. What this whole journey is really about is allowing consciousness to rise and rise and rise above a certain level where it isn't within the sphere of influence of this matrix any longer. Every simulation has its limitations. Consciousness does not. Even in our reality, every simulation has its limitations. You can go and be in a flight simulator. It can't do infinite things. It can do the things it was designed and programmed to do. So I believe this superimposed grid reality, it can't do things that it wasn't programmed to do. And the people within it that were NPCs and put here can do things beyond what they were programmed to do. But our real consciousness can. It can rise above it. It can break through the glass ceiling. I do honestly believe that because I've been in that space, because I have visited the space of infinite possibilities more than once. And it does not include all these limitations. It does not include all these invisible walls. It does not include all this suffering and all this bullshit that we're going through right now. But nothing else but consciousness is the actual answer. Does that mean you shouldn't apply yourself physically? No, not at all. We need to apply consciousness in practical ways. We need to practice it in our reality. We need to infuse our decisions with it, our relationships with it. And even where we have to deal with NPCs, we do it from a higher place of consciousness. Why not? It's not about them. It's not about them at all. So why not? Why would you lower your consciousness for those conversations? You just do what you have to do, say what you have to say, and go about your way. That's all. But this is it. A spiritual real connection. And now this is going to get highly triggering, but I think it's part of this conversation, so I'm going to share it. The God that most people pray to, no matter the religion, is not the prime creator. The God that most people pray to, no matter their religion, is not the prime creator. They pray to the creator of this superimposed grid, of this matrix, of this fake reality. That is what is so clear. Because the God, the prime creator of everything, there is no relativity there. There is no relativity there. Why would there be? That's the consciousness we were created from. That's the awareness. That's the energy we were created from. So by praying to a humanized God, a God that has the form and the thought form that we believe in, we are giving our power and our prayers to the God of the simulation. Now, you can love me, you can hate me, you can unsubscribe, but this is just the way I see it. Walk with it as always. I'm not saying please take everything I say at face value. I'll say the opposite. Actually walk with that. Walk with that. I have too much respect for you not to share openly, not to share the truth the way I see it. Otherwise, what would this be for? You know, we're walking this narrow path. Such a narrow path. But the truth is just the truth. You know, the truth is not radical. It's not strange. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just the truth. What determines how we feel about it is our own programming, our own limitations, our own belief systems. And when they get triggered, well, then the truth is radical, right? But I would say the lie is radical, not the truth. The lie is so radical, so preposterous, so monumental, so fundamental that when you come even close to the truth, you're triggered. But the truth is just the truth. It's always been the truth. It's always going to be there. It can't be hidden. It can be, I think it can be buried for a while under lies, but the truth will always be there. It's just waiting for you to arrive. That's all. My friends, Inspired Tribe, thank you so much for tuning in. Also, last but not least, I want to make a few things clear about what we have shared recently, the partnership with FLFE, Focused Life Force Energy, links in the description, which is a beautiful thing that we appreciate so much in our lives now, that we've seen the beautiful benefits of. But I want to make one thing clear. Whether we are talking about a herb or supplement that we recommend, or whether we're talking about FLFE, we all have free will. Take it or leave it. Try it or not. That's all. You have free will. You're in full control here. There's no need to go out and bash something you perhaps haven't really put a lot of attention and detail and research to, or, you know, there's no need to attack us. We make the choice that we made with our spirits and that we believe is for the highest good of all. That's the only way we can go, and that's the only thing we can do. So when we enter a partnership, is because we believe it can bring tremendous value to our community. That's all. I was so excited. And I am. Thousands of people have tried it. Hundreds of people have signed up, have used their free trial. They give everyone a free trial for up to 30 days, no credit card needed. Show me who else does that. But I want to make one thing clear. FLFE is a technology, but it has nothing to do with AI. There's no program, there's no software, there's no download, there's no device, there's nothing like that. It's a consciousness technology. It basically amplifies an intention, and it can do that in a specific geographic area. And that's why when you sign up for a free trial, they say, what's your phone number? Because only you have that phone number. It's a unique identifier. That's the only reason. It doesn't have anything to do with your carrier, with your phone, with your service. And then it activates a field of consciousness, and their intention is to bring it up to 550, which on the Hawkins scale of consciousness is love, is unconditional love. That's the goal. That's what it does. It does not create ascension for you. It does not propel you into other spheres. It creates a field that allows you to invest a little less of your own energy into creating this and benefiting from. It's a lot like, think of it that way. It's winter, it's 10 degrees. And if you have to keep warm all the time without any external help, what do? Well, you jump around, you do push-ups, you run, you dress very warmly, but you have to invest a lot of your personal energy into keeping warm. If you have a fireplace or a heating system, now that creates a field of warmth around you without you having to invest a lot of energy. So what can you do? Well, you can focus on other things while you benefit from that field of warmth around you. This is the exact same thing. It creates a field of consciousness that is being constantly bombarded, by the way, by all the influences all around us. Imagine all the frequencies that are all around us. So it just maintains that field in your vicinity, so you can focus on the things that you need to focus on and not fall below a certain level in your field. That's all. That's all it does. And you can accept that with your free will, or you can reject that with your free will. It's all good. But no AI is involved, no artificial intelligence. It's a fully integrous system, and it works beautifully. And in order for us to understand that, we have to expand our minds into a quantum realm. What does that mean? Distances do not really exist. For our awareness, distances do not really exist. You can think of someone as intensely, whether they sit next to you or they're on the other side of the earth. Can you? You can, because you have the power of awareness. As a matter of fact, you can think so intensely about them that no matter if they sit next to you or on the other side of the world, they're affected by your thought. They feel you. They feel your attention. They feel it and they react to it. They pick up the phone and call you, or they write you a text, or they do something else. This is consciousness at work. And it has been shown, especially in the big 80s movement of transcendental meditation, that when people get together, hundreds and thousands of them, and they focus and they elevate their consciousness and they anchor their awareness in peace and love, that the field around them reacts to that. How? Crime goes down significantly. Violence goes down significantly. Accidents go down significantly, because the field has now been infused with love and peace and harmony. How? By consciousness directing itself in a certain way. So this is not something new. This is what prayer and meditation do, by the way. And so this technology does not replace that. It couldn't possibly replace that. What it does and how it helps is that we live in an economized society, which means most of us, we have to do something to pay our bills, and we work with people, and we have to show up for appointments, and we have to be there. And so we cannot invest 12, 14, 16 hours of our days in elevating our consciousness, in being in meditation, which would do the same thing. So this just helps to keep the field at a certain level of consciousness. Then what you do with it, that's up to you. So I wanted to clarify this. And I wanted to say one thing too. If that's not for you, well, that's totally fine. And if that's for you, that's totally fine. It's just an invitation. It's an offering. And they allow people, as I said, to try it for up to 30 days without a credit card. You can't go further than that. You can't do more and say, hey, this is, So I want to clarify that because these questions have been coming up. We have more interviews coming up with the founders. They explain more about it. And there's a reason why they don't say certain things, for the exact reason you would not want them to. Certain things need to be protected in order to not be exposed to manipulation. Okay. Alrighty, friends. Much love. Many blessings. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll be back with you again very, very soon.